Today, we're digging into a really fascinating blueprint for New Zealand's economic engine, the Golden Triangle. And look, this isn't just another proposal for a new train line. Nope, this is a vision for a completely self-sustaining system, taking a page from a proven Japanese model to totally reshape how we live, work, and connect with each other. All right, let's get into it. But, before we can even talk about the solution, we've got to really understand the problem it's trying to solve. And it's a problem that I'm guessing a lot of us feel deep in our bones every single day.
And this image, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? This is the fundamental choice we're facing. On the left, you've got the gray, soul-crushing reality of today's gridlock. And on the right, the sleek, efficient, vibrant possibility of tomorrow. It's such a stark contrast between a system that's pretty clearly broken and one that's actually engineered for success.
I mean, that phrase just hits the nail on the head. That feeling of being stuck, not moving, on the motorway, wondering what you're even doing with your life. It's a daily reality for thousands of people in the economic heartland of New Zealand, that crucial zone connecting Auckland, Hamilton, and Tauranga. This source material we're looking at uses some pretty strong language here, saying the region is literally imploding. And you have to ask, why? Well, it's because of our current approach, what they call carpet development. We just keep sprawling outwards, adding more and more cars onto the same old roads. It's a math problem that you just can't solve. It's geometrically impossible. So how do we get out of this mess? Well, let's explore the solution that's on the table. It takes its inspiration from Japan, but, and this is the key part, with a very, very clever twist that makes it perfect for New Zealand. Okay, now this is where we need to bust a pretty common myth. When you hear Japanese rail, you probably picture a 300-kilometer-an-hour bullet train, right? But to do that, you'd need to bulldoze a brand new, perfectly straight line across the country. The reality being proposed here is so much smarter. It uses high-tech tilt trains that can run on our existing narrow-gauge tracks and still hit some really impressive speeds, all without that insane price tag. And this isn't some crazy all-or-nothing mega project. As you can see, it's a really practical 3-stage rollout. You start with stage 1, just getting a solid 80-kilometer-an-hour service running on the lines we already have. Then, stage 2 kicks it up to 120 with some key upgrades like electrification. And finally, stage 3 brings in those high-tech tilt trains to get you to the full 160. The genius here is that it builds on what we already have, one step at a time. All right, enough with the theory. To really understand how this system would feel, let's follow a commuter, we'll call her Maya, and walk through her completely transformed daily routine. This is where you can really see the vision come to life. So Maya's day starts right here. She's waking up in a modern apartment that's been built directly on top of the transit hub. This is what the blueprint calls articulated density. It's about building up, smartly, right where it makes the most sense. She doesn't have to drive to the station. She's already there. Maya just takes an elevator down. And she doesn't land on some cold, windy platform. No. She arrives here, in this vibrant, bustling hub. The whole space is designed around a Japanese concept called benrisa. It's a simple but really powerful idea. You obsessively focus on avoiding every little bit of inconvenience for the customer. Every single detail is about making the journey easy and pleasant. So what does that actually feel like? For Maya, it means she can grab a great coffee, use an app on her phone to get breakfast from a smart vending machine, and just enjoy being in a clean, safe, and lively space. Her commute is no longer this stressful chore she has to endure. It's just a really nice part of her day. Okay, now this is where it gets really brilliant. You see, Maya's super convenient, easy morning, that's actually the very thing that powers the entire financial model. This is the secret sauce that makes the whole system work without needing constant top-ups from the taxpayer. So the core concept is called Transit-Oriented Development, or TOD. And the crucial point, the absolute game changer is this. The company that runs the trains is the exact same company that builds and owns the apartments, the offices, and the shops around the station. They're the transport provider, and they're the landlord. And this creates this incredible self-reinforcing loop. So, step 1, the operator develops the property, creating this whole community. Step 2, they've now captured a built-in audience of residents, people like Maya. Step 3, naturally, those residents become loyal customers for the train. And step 4, the magic. All the money from Maya's rent and her morning coffee. That's called non-fare revenue, and it gets poured right back into funding the system. And this diagram just lays it out perfectly. You can literally see how the profits from real estate and all the retail flow directly back to support the real network. It's a completely closed loop.
They create the customers, they house the customers, and then they transport the customers. It's brilliant.
Now, this setup solves a massive flaw in most big transit projects we see in the West, a problem called the rentier trap. So here's how that trap usually works. The government, using our taxpayer money, spends billions on a new train line. All the property values around the new stations go through the roof, right? But that massive windfall goes into the pockets of private landowners who did absolutely nothing to earn it. This new model avoids that trap completely. Because the operator is the developer, they capture all that new value themselves and use it to keep the system funded and the housing affordable. Okay, so how does this all come together at the end of the day? Let's check back in with Maya as she's heading home from work. We're about to see how her evening routine really closes that symbiotic loop and shows off the full power of this model. So when Maya gets back in the evening, the station isn't a ghost town. It's got what the blueprint calls morning to night vibrancy. It's still a buzzing hub of activity. And that's because the station isn't just a place to pass through, it's a destination in its own right. It cleverly turns passengers into captive shoppers. So instead of a second stressful journey home from the station, Maya can just meet a friend at a bar right there, pick up her dry cleaning, buy fresh groceries for dinner, all before just heading upstairs to her apartment. And every single one of those little transactions is feeding back into that non-fare revenue that funds the entire system. Okay, let's zoom out from Maya's very convenient day. What's the big picture takeaway here? For the decision makers looking at this, it's about so much more than a better commute. It's about a fundamentally smarter long-term investment. I mean, the business case presented here couldn't really be any clearer. Just look at the asset lifespan, 100 years for the rail project versus only 50 for new roads. Then look at the funding. The rail is self-sustaining, while roads need constant taxpayer subsidies. And maybe most importantly for the government, look at the financial risk. With this rail model, it's off the public books. With roads, taxpayers are on the hook, plain and simple. So the crucial point is that this is a whole package deal. You get the fast train that cuts down on congestion, you get the transit-oriented development that ramps up housing supply, and you get the whole thing through a self-sustaining financial model that creates a 100-year asset, one that will boost the entire region's productivity for generations to come. At the end of the day, the blueprint leaves us with this final, really provocative question. This isn't just a choice about a piece of transport infrastructure. It's a fundamental choice about the kind of future we actually want to build for our communities. A choice between sticking with a model that's imploding or embracing one that's truly designed to thrive.